How you doing,
I'm
Bevon?
good. I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me, Michael. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, I know that you started the Greenwood Project about 4 or 5 years ago, but even before we get into that, can you just like tell us a little bit about yourself? And I mean, I know a little bit about you, but our audience does not. Can you like tell us a little bit about yourself and if there were any role models that that really made you want to do this and drove your passion?
Yeah, definitely. As you can tell from my accent, I am not from Chicago. I was born and raised in the Caribbean in Trinidad and Tobago, and I moved after high school to the New York, New Jersey area, uh, and kind of went to school there for a little bit. Actually started with my associate's degree in like computer technology stuff. And my very first job was on the trading floor of Chase headquarters in Manhattan at 270 Park Avenue, and ended up on the trading floor, hundreds of people yelling and screaming and cursing at me and everybody around them. I didn't know what was going on, but I was fascinated. I was like,
How'd you
what is
get there?
well, I was actually a computer break fix guy. So I ended up being placed there like by a temp agency or something. But it was my first job ever, and it happened to be on a trading floor. But part of your question was like role models in the business. I had
Yeah.
none. I had none at all. I had to figure it out on my own. Made friends with a lot of traders who were on the floor and other people. But yeah, I started in the industry in technology as a computer guy, like just fixing computers on a trading floor. And you know, fast forward to like 2016, I was a CTO at a hedge fund in Chicago, but just really always was fascinated with the industry, with the business, wanted to become a subject matter expert, learn about trading and all that stuff. Worked in all the major stock exchanges in New York and some in Chicago as well. But yeah, I this business kind of happened to me. I didn't have the social capital, the network, family members, people to open doors. I didn't have any of that stuff. And in many ways, the Greenwood Project, which we launched in 2016, is the organization I wish I had when I was on that trading floor back in.
Oh my God,
You know.
my goodness. I wish the same thing when I was a business finance major a long time ago at Bradley University. If there'd have been something like the Greenwood Project or the Street Smarts, it would have changed my life. And that's why I'm passionate.
Mm-hmm.
You're you're really bringing you're really bringing it home for these students, and then seeing people that look like them is so very, very important. So you discovered finance and investing from actually being on the trading floor. Um, I'm still trying to figure out what the heck are they yelling and screaming about, but I think that they're bidding on. Are they bidding on stocks?
Well, what I found out was like their moods kind of go along with the markets, right? Markets are up, everybody's happy, everybody's making money. It's down, they're losing money, they're not in a good mood. So it takes a special type of personality to work on a trading floor to be around traders because they're so volatile, right? And for that reason, a lot of folks end up leaving the industry very early because they just can't take that pressure, that environment. It's a lot of money, a lot of risk on the line. And if you don't thrive in those high pressure, high intensity, adrenaline pumping situations, you'll just go crazy and like this is not for me. But I just found myself loving it. I just love everything about the markets, and I've never had a job until the Greenwood Project outside of the industry. So for 20 years, my wife as well, she was in Chicago, I was in New York, but we've never had jobs outside of the markets. Like never at I was always at a hedge fund, bank, exchange, high frequency shop, you name it, hedge fund. That's all I did. That's all I wanted to do was be around that business. But the theme throughout my entire career in finance was looking around the trading floor and not seeing anybody who was black or
Wow,
brown. Didn't
that
meet didn't meet the first black trader I met was probably I don't know, like 2015 or something. So 20 years. It took me that
oh
long
my
to.
goodness.
Yeah.
Well, that is amazing. Um, what? motivates you to really do what you do?
Well, I was asked that question recently. I was talking to some students and they asked me like what motivates you to do this every day. This is like our sixth summer we're heading into. And I always tell them, I said, you won't have motivation every day, right? When you wake up, but what you should have is discipline, right? You should be disciplined to understand that first of all, you're running your own business. There's a lot of young people, a lot of people relying on you. And when you run your own company, as you know, if you don't get up and do it, it doesn't get done. Right? It's
And
not like
working all nights, weekends, and but loving every minute of it.
doesn't really feel like work. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, but it doesn't feel like work because right before you and I got on today, right now, a young person called me up and said, I just got a full-time offer from the firm I've been working at year round for the last 2 years. He just graduated last week and they made him a full-time offer. He's on his way to be a
Oh my
trader.
goodness, that's fantastic, man.
Happens
That's
to,
that makes it worthwhile. That makes it worthwhile, man.
and the first person they call is me. I was like, what do your parents think about this? Like, I don't know. I called you
I don't
first.
know. I haven't told them yet.
You know what I mean?
That ought
So
to make you feel good because you were evidently a big motivator and just that person that was there. I know that for me, that's what I get the biggest joy out of is just being there and listening to their stories and trying not to get too involved in it, but seeing what you can do to help them. And then when you see them just excel, you're just like,
yeah.
whoa, wow, I knew them when. And I'm sure you all have alumni now
Hmm.
who are coming back and helping. Is that something that you all are doing?
Yeah, definitely. So our program, so we have high school programming and college programming. And for a college student, once you join the Greenwood Project, it's mandatory that you mentor a high school student. So that's just like unquestionable. Like it has to happen. College kids must give back to the high school program. And the way we talk about Greenwood when we market it or talk to students and organizations is this is a family, this is not a program. So we tell students you're joining the Greenwood Project family, so they feel welcome, they feel like cared about. And the alumni, I literally know every single student that I've met over the years and what where they are, what they're doing now, and they all give back. We do an alumni panel in the summer. They'll come back this June and
Oh my,
talk to the incoming class about their experiences and stuff.
you just don't know what you're saying is things that I've been going through. And I guess maybe since we are doing things similarly in different locations, but hearing you say that just brings back a lot for me because I know where they are. It's just like right now where I am. I'm at the Central Valley Fund, which is was telling you earlier is a private equity firm, and my guy is here,
Right.
and he is just and on top of that, he's taken the third level CFA exam,
Wow.
and he finished the first one when he I think even before he graduated from college. But I knew
Mhm.
he was a sharpie when I met him,
You could tell, yeah.
and he has proven, and he's Argentinian,
Hmm.
and he's proven to me that I was able to get him his first internship at a hedge fund, and it just so informed him about where he was going. And so I knew that he was gonna be
Yeah.
impressive, and he's shown me that. And he might stop in here because I'm in their conference room, so he might stop in here a little bit and just to say hello. But so I would ask you, where did you get the name Greenwood Project? But then I would just be playing dumb because I do know where it came from. But a lot of people have heard about the Tulsa um, massacre.
Hmm.
But I personally, I mean, it was Black Wall Street, but I had no idea until I started doing some more research about Greenwood that that was the name of the street.
Yeah.
That was like Wall Street, but it was Greenwood. So
Hmm.
excellent choice for a name. Excellent choice. So tell us a little bit about the Greenwood Project. Um, I think I know what you do, but I think that you probably are doing a lot more than what I think you're doing. So I'm going to give you the floor to talk about the Greenwood Project. Tell everybody where you are and how they can reach you, and maybe even volunteer for your program, sign up.
Hmm. Yeah,
Tell me your-
definitely. So our mission is really simple. We are in the business of helping Black and Latinx students from underserved communities build generational wealth. And we do that through internships and a high school program by introducing them to jobs and places they have never heard of or been before. So we have a high school program and a college program. High school students are in a paid 6 week summer program where they're gaining valuable soft skills. They're meeting a bunch of companies. They visit a different company every day for 6 weeks during the summer. They get paid. We pay them a stipend, cover transportation, any wraparound services they need, technology needs, whatever that is. College students are in a paid 10-week program where they are trained for 4 weeks initially and then placed at a partner company for a 6 week internship. And it's paid training and a paid internship. It's across the country. It's actually now in London as well too for us. We're expanding.
Oh, well, I want an internship.
Me too. You know,
I want to go.
we'll send you as a chaperone or something.
Okay.
But and college students up there placed at one of our many partners. We have close to like 45 partners now, and companies like Morgan Stanley, William Blair, Goldman
How were
Sachs.
you able to get them? Was it because you were in the industry or one thing led to another?
Yeah,
How were you able to do that?
initially was because my wife and I worked at many of these firms, and we had friends who were still there. So, for example, I take a group of college kids to New York every year for 7 days on Wall Street,
You
and
did
that's
that last week, didn't you?
Yeah, we were there last week. Yeah, we're ringing the closing bell of Nasdaq. But this is our annual Wall Street tour that we visit two companies a day. It's a business trip, and for many of these kids, it's their first time on a plane, first time leaving their city,
Are
right?
you kidding me?
First time for everything with Greenwood. First time becoming an investor because we convert all of them to investors as well by giving them a funded brokerage account. But yeah, it's exposure. Like we're in the business of exposure. If you don't, we like to say kids cannot be what they cannot see, right? So if we don't show them this is what the floor of the New York Stock Exchange looks like, this is what investment banking is, or private equity, or whatever that is, because again the population we're serving, they've never been exposed. They don't have that social capital that is, the reality is needed these days to even know that the opportunity exists, because a lot of firms ask the question like, why aren't more Black and Latinx students applying to these internships? And I tell them, don't assume that everybody knows who you are or wants to work for you, because there are thousands, even hundreds of thousands of kids out there who don't know what investment banking is, for example. And they're not pursuing finance or econ degrees or careers in those areas because they just don't know. So the high school program is really important to us because high school juniors and seniors at a very
Juniors and
early age
seniors, right?
get an exposure to UBS, Goldman, all these brands, right? They go to college, they join our college program. Now you show up at the career fair from Goldman Sachs or wherever. Oh, I know you. I went there with Bevon and Greenwood Project, and we know who you are. That's a whole different that shifts a lot of things for firms, because recruiting wise, they typically are looking for rising juniors or seniors, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to start earlier, especially with populations that the population we're serving. Right, you got to take into account they're not sitting at home at their dining room table talking about the Wall Street Journal and the markets.
Oh God.
They're not exposed to that stuff. So you can't expect these students to come into your firm and get through the interview process on their own the first time around. It's not going to happen. In my opinion, is very unfair to these students. And for that reason, we work with freshmen all the way through seniors, putting
That's
freshmen and
excellent.
sophomores in internships initially at a firm to get exposure to the firm. So it's really like a rotational thing. And as they get to their junior year, we narrow their focus into where they want to go, and they go into that full on 10 to 12-week program. But 100% of our kids are in full time jobs now. Average starting
Really?
salary $65,000, and 75% of them are in finance.
That is great. That is great. What you were just saying, it just rings so true to me. I mean, I grew up not too far from Chicago in Peoria, Illinois. And, we were upper middle class family. My dad was the executive director of the Urban League in Peoria. And, he wasn't in the stock market. And, I'd see it on the news. They talk about stocks and I just kind of
Mm.
gloss over. But it was just never talked about. It wasn't even thought of as a viable career. So, what you're doing with the high school, and we're starting to do it also. We have a finance academy for high school kids, but it's like getting to them early and getting them used to the terms, and then so that they won't be so intimidated
Yeah.
uh, by it. And they'll know once they get to college what are the classes that they need to take and blah
Right.
blah blah. And if you haven't been exposed to it, you could mess around and not decide what you want to do till you're a sophomore or whatever, and all these other people are way ahead of you already.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Exactly. We've had young people who've jumped around, switching majors. They don't, like affects their GPA, then they can't recover.
you're looking at one.
But for that same reason, every student gets a mentor, like high school and college. Every single student gets a mentor for
That's
those same
excellent.
reasons because they go through the summer with us. Now they have questions. Now I know I want to do this. Can you tell me which classes I need to take? Which major should I pursue? What school should I go to? Because they have all these questions and we want to give them all the answers.
Okay. Well, now I'm going to ask you some of the more complex and questions, and I've let you see some of these questions before, so hopefully you had a chance to think about it. But being a minority in the finance industry, obviously, it has its challenges. Could you speak about some of the political and social barriers that you had to overcome in your career? Did you have those?
Yeah, definitely. At many firms, myself and my wife were like one of the only or very few people of color at those firms. And I worked in big banks, medium shops, all different sizes of firms, but the theme was the same, like just looking around, just looking like, where is everybody else, where are all the interns who don't look like, who are not related to anybody here, right? So the politics is the social capital, right? Like that's the network, the people that who can make introductions for you. And so that was one big challenge. Is I manage a lot of interns, but they all seem to be related to or connected to somebody at that firm. And for that reason, a lot of students of color from, again, especially underserved communities, were excluded from the industry. So that's on the social capital political
Right.
side. I think in 2020 the world was, awakened a little bit because of the Black Lives Matter movement, George Floyd. That really accelerated a lot of stuff for us. We saw a ton of companies, they're still coming to us now asking to how can we help, how can we help. And the conversation has shifted now because of all that's going on in the country. They let us kind of drive the conversation now, right? How can
Yeah,
you
I
help? Yeah, it's different
it's
than,
definitely happened with us too, getting calls out of the blue, as
yeah,
I was telling you earlier. And people gotta you gotta take that first step and just be open to folks that really, truly, honestly want to try to do better.
yeah,
And offer them some concrete ways in which they can work with you.
yeah.
So it sounds like you've had some um, excellent success with that.
Yeah, definitely. In 2020, again, we were not looking at expanding outside of Chicago anytime until probably 2025. We wasn't thinking internationally yet, but now we have this summer, we have 156 total students,
Woo.
86 of which are college students, and the rest are high school. But we have students all over the country. It's all virtual, but all over the country and in London as well. We have 5 kids working in London virtually. And in
Is that
2022,
5 hours time difference
yeah,
from the East Coast? Yeah.
yeah, so good learning experience for them. But for 2022, we already have firms asking to be involved, and we are at capacity for this year already. We've recruited enough kids. We are getting up and running. We're focused on 2022 planning and what that looks like. But yeah, I mean, it's sad that it took what it took in 2020 to get us here and to get the conversation to shift. But it is here now, and we got to take advantage of it, in my opinion, because that
No,
just
I agree with you. I
opens
agree
a lot of
with you.
opportunities. Yeah.
Can I ask you, because you've already answered one of the questions I was going to ask at the end about the BL social justice movements, but one of the questions that I did want to ask is, um, what kept you going when you first got in, and um, did you just not let it get to you that you were the only one there? Because I know that, I mean, for me, I probably would have been okay because I was just how I was raised. I've been around all types of people, but I can see being someone, especially in Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
uh, maybe not even interact with some other races other than yourself. I mean, Chicago, South Side, West Side,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
Yeah.
So what did what did you do? Did you how'd you keep yourself motivated?
So I think, yeah. So I lived in New York for a long time. So New York is like a melting pot, right? So it's
Hmm.
living. All the boroughs are diverse, and people end up at work together. When I came to Chicago, man, I was just like, "What is going on?" I felt like I went back in time
It's a little
because
different.
very.
New
It's like,
York is like the Bay Area where I am. It's very
yeah, in New York, everybody lives together, parties together, like mingles on the street. You come to Chicago, it's like north side up here, west side, south. It's so segregated, and that's filtered into the financial industry and many industries. So I would go to work here, and same thing, look around the firm. It's like 400 people work here, but why is there only like two or three black and brown people and no black interns at all? And I was like, man, this is such a shock, to move from New York to Chicago. Um, so for me, it was like, how do we navigate it? How do we find kids? How do we, like match them with firms? Because I know New York better than I knew Chicago, but my wife is from Chicago, so she helped a lot there. But it was really those relationships.
how'd you find your kids? I
So,
know how
they,
I found mine, but how'd you find yours?
so in 2016, we had 5 students, and those 5 students were,
2017 when we started
yeah,
ours. 5 students.
5 students who were kids of friends of ours. We literally went to our friends and said, I know you have a kid in college. Do you think he or she would like to spend the summer with us at a trading firm? And we went to trading firms that we used to work at before and said, hey, we have 5 students. Would you guys take a chance on them this summer? We'll find them, we'll pay them, we'll get them ready. All you have to do is say yes and open your doors, and we'll help you figure it out. So 4 companies said yes,
Wow.
and we had 5 students, and all 5 were invited back to those firms, and the firms wanted more. And the industry is a small place, right? They all know each other,
Mm-hmm.
and we said, and they kept coming like, hey, my friend at this firm would love to do this and do that, and that 5 has turned into 300 plus, in 20, and now we have 156 brand new ones. And by the end of this year, we'll probably close to like 450, 500 total students we've worked with.
Wow. I was worried about the 50 or 60 that I'm working with. But you would do it, but you do have staff.
We have staff, yeah. We're a growing organization. First it was myself and my wife, and I, in 2016, actually, you know, I was a hedge fund, and I was looking for my next kind of position because the fund was kind of shutting down. And I said, you know what? I've been kind of doing this thing, part time for a little bit. Let me see what happens. I'll spend some time on this. And the thing that you asked a question earlier about, what kept us going, is everybody that I talked to about this idea is like, this is what I want to do with Greenwood Project. What do you think about it? Everybody was like, this totally makes sense. I want to help you. Like, everybody said that to me. And I was like, wow, there must be something here, because these are some very senior people at some very big firms saying this to me. And then they would be making introductions to their HR people and their head of diversity and head of recruiting, and they were all struggling with the same problem. Where do we find more black and brown talent, specifically focus on our industry? Who's doing a good job of preparing them to be here? And the things we do is we give them all Bloomberg terminals. They take the BMC certification, partner with
Yeah.
the CFA Society of Chicago. We underwrite the cost of the SIE exam. So your resume looks really good when you're done with the
Yeah.
summer at
With that
Greenwood,
SIE, the kids are starting to take that now.
and you get very prepared for the industry.
Hey, my guy just walked in the door. He's got my sandwich.
Hey, very good.
Here, sit down, my guy. I want to introduce you to Bevon Joseph. he does on a much bigger scale what I do, and he's had so much success. And this young man, come on, so I can see you. He has been one of my stars, man. Can you tell him a little bit about? And you don't tell him how we met and all that stuff, but you can tell him about what it's been like working at a private equity firm.
Sure. I will tell them a little about how we met. So we met back in, what was it, 2017?
27?
Yeah, 4 years ago. And Michael was kind enough to kind of set me up for my first internship in finance. So he hooked me up with a couple people, and I finally ended up interning at a hedge fund out in San Francisco called Capital. So I was under Marcelo Deggio, who's the PM there. From there, it kind of really was a stepping stone into
You went to Yahoo for a
That's
while.
right. Yeah, I went to Yahoo my junior year, mainly because I had that experience under my belt. So that was extremely helpful. And then from there, was able to land a job at CDF, where I'm a private equity analyst. So kind of from a day-to-day perspective, working with our portfolio companies, analyzing new deals, running new models, all kinds of stuff. Really kind of everyday changes, which is awesome. So yeah.
And then he moved
Yeah, that's right.
to their office down in San Diego,
Nice.
where it's a lot warmer and there's water.
Michael's been telling me a lot about you, and again, super proud, happy for you. I mean, I think it's a testament to the work he's doing, right? Having the impact he is having on young people, and just open up doors and helping kids increase their social capital. It's kind of what we do. Is like, I come from the business. I know people in the business. Now I go find students, introduce them to those people, and now all these kids are getting great jobs and doing well, like yourself, and moving all over the country from Chicago and stuff. So that's great, man. Happy that you guys. I mean, you guys will be connected pretty much forever, but glad
Yeah,
that.
I think so. He's a good guy, man. And it's just his heart's in the right place too. So Ben, thank you for letting me use your conference room.
It's nice to meet you again.
Great to meet you, Bevon.
All right.
So, wow, man, this has been great. I want to meet some of your alumni.
Definitely, we'll make that happen.
We'll have to make that happen. Let's see here. Okay, I got two more questions, but these are kind of deep. What advice would you give to younger African Americans and people of color that are seeking to break into the finance industry?
I would say network. I think if you know this is what you want to do, and I tell students in Greenwood all the time, I tell students that I speak to constantly, you know, like Michael, you're busy, I'm busy, but you know who you remember? The people who are top of mind, the people who harass you nonstop, won't stop emailing you, won't stop messaging you on LinkedIn, because that's what I do to people I want to meet, right? So
You stalk them.
exactly. You can never over communicate, right? You can never do that. So you gotta network your way, because I believe social capital is the key. I believe you gotta have the network. I've met super smart kids going to great schools, but they've been banging on those doors and they just cannot get in. They connect to Greenwood, and all of a sudden, in one summer, they're at the firm they want to be at. They're moving to New York. They're at Goldman Sachs or wherever that is, and it's like because they've plugged into our network. So I would say, look for the subject matter experts, the people who are doing the thing that you want to do one day.
Okay.
Talk to them, and you might realize, you know what, I don't think this is what I want to do anymore, because you don't know what you don't know, right? But you got to find a way to connect to the right people, plug into the right network, and those doors will open. You just got to find people who are, and also be prepared, right? So even though you're harassing and stalking people, when they do say, okay, I'll give you 10 minutes, what do you have to say? Have your elevator pitch ready, have your resume ready, have all that stuff good to go, LinkedIn profile looking good, right? Just be ready and stay ready all the time.
Great. Okay. Last question. I'm not even going to ask you that question because that's kind of a downer question. So, Bevon, before we end this, how can people? I know for 2022, how did they find you? Is there an application? Can you
Yeah.
let the viewers know?
Yeah, definitely go to our website, greenwoodproject.org. You can also follow us online, social media. It's Greenwood Pro Shy everywhere, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook. You can find us on LinkedIn. We are everywhere the young people are. We meet them where they are.
Snapchat.
We're everywhere, man. TikTok next, I guess. I don't know.
Oh
But
no.
we find new and innovative ways to find them. We're launching our own app as well for current students and alumni
Wow.
and stuff. So yeah, 2022 application opens up in October, and it'll be on our website. We'll put a lot of stuff out on social media and LinkedIn about it. But we have 86 college kids this year, and we're looking to get close to 100 or 120 next year.
Wow.
So we're growing pretty quickly. People could also just shoot us an email at info@greenwoodproject.org if they want to learn more as well. But we're very responsive, happy to
So maybe it's the universe telling us it's time to get off the phone. Do you have any closing remarks?
Yeah, I just want to say, Greenwood Project, along with like your organization and many others, we need more of us, doing this work because there is no lack of talent. All we have is a lack of opportunity. And there's so many
All
young
right.
people out there, and I feel like the industry is listening now, and they're taking solid steps to make things look different. And if they want to be different, they got to take some drastic changes and drastic steps. That is not, I mean, change is never comfortable, right? It's always uncomfortable, and the things that we're doing it and the way we're doing it is very different when it comes to recruiting and retaining African American and Latinx individuals for the industry. So I just want to say I'm super happy to have partners, corporate partners, who see us and believe in our vision and are taking a chance on us, because I think it'll take the industry to change the industry, if we wanted to see
You're
something
right.
really material.
All right. Well, wow, this has been very enlightening, Bevon. Thank you so much. And hopefully this won't be the last time that we get a chance to as the young kids say, conversate over the I know it's not even a word. But I definitely would like to get some of your students and some of my students together and
Yeah,
just talk about experience. I think that would be great.
was
So
definitely love to do
again,
that.
thank you so much for being with us. And for the viewers out there, um, Real Talk will be back again, but this was another great episode. So thanks
Thanks,
a
man.
lot.